Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's David Palmer, the Leo King, and I'm here for Deep Astrology for the week of March 20th through the 26th of 2019. If you've never watched the show, we go live from the High Vibe TV, Leo King Studios, straight to you on Facebook Live, and of course, we bring you the charts, which are from Astro Gold. You can get that at iOS, Android, and at the App Store for Mac, or if you're on PC, go to Solar Fire. Now, if you never watched the show, this is where I live channel the astrology to you, and then we go deep into the charts and show them straight to you live. We do this show live. I wish I could prove to you it was live, but right now it is 7:54 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time in California on the 19th. Now, this is a big week because guess what? It is the spring equinox or fall equinox for you in Australia. But this is a big time because, number one, in astrology, this is the pagan new year. This is us moving into the sun's exaltation. If you don't know what that means, this is where the sun gets its great power because it restores the power back, and the sun comes into the heavens, literally, for the next 6 months in northern understanding of the hemisphere, and especially on traditional tropical astrology. But this is a big moment because a full moon in Libra is going to be happening at the exact moment of, well, it's not exact, but pretty much exact. Literally right when we move into the spring, a full moon pops up. Bing, bang, boom. And this is a major time because, number one, we're still in a crazy Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and this Mercury retrograde this week is going to end up sitting on top of Neptune, where it will be for the next couple weeks. Mercury does not come out of retrograde this week, so this full moon is bringing up a lot of questions about our lives, our relationships. Where are we going? Can we push through? The reason why I'm saying relationships so big is, number one, we got some major aspects with a full moon in Libra. That already is going to bring the emotions high about where relationships are sitting, and with the sun that is in exaltation and will be conjunct Chiron. Now, this is a big deal because Chiron has now officially entered Aries all the way up until the mid-2020s. I mean, really 2026. I mean, this is a major kind of long-term transit that we are going to have to get comfortable with. Today, I put up a post on my Instagram. You should go check it out. It literally is all about putting on a Halloween costume and feeling comfortable. I don't know how many Halloweens I've been in a costume, and I don't care how comfortable you think you could be on Halloween. There's something uncomfortable about wearing it, but we do it anyway. Something about this Chiron in Aries is going to bring up this uncomfort about us having to have courage and the strength and that Aries warrior determination to push through all the obstacles that are in life. The reason why I say that is this is the sun coming into Aries. Now, it's been in Pisces. We have all been dosed up very heavy on the very confusing energy with the Mercury retrograde in Pisces, the sun in Pisces, a new moon cycle, which started with this Piscean energy. And we are coming to the full moon cycle, right? We're coming to this waxing full moon. 2 weeks ago, we were literally in the craziness with Mercury that went retrograde, Uranus that entered Taurus. So this the last 2 weeks has been weird, okay? Now this full moon cycle is going to peak out the weirdness. Yes, that's right. It's going to peak it out, especially with the sun on Chiron. It's going to bring up a lot of weird, uncomfortable positions about this kind of individuality in ourselves. Can we do things alone? With a full moon in Libra, we almost want help. We feel like we need help. And that could be in lots of different ways, whether it's actual relationships, whether it's through a job we need help to get through, whether money that we need. We build relationships with lots of things. And that's what Libra offers is, hey, you can't go win the war alone. You might need a diplomat to try and make a treaty for you so you don't lose all the soldiers. And you also probably need some other people to actually show up for the war. But that's another aspect where this is very kind of intense because Mars is in its detriment. It's in Taurus, and it's in Taurus with Uranus in Taurus. So we got this very odd energies, right? Mars is independent. Uranus is all about the collective and trying to bring together a lot of ideas. But both kind of have a similarity of kind of also wanting to be alone sometimes. Don't forget that. Uranus likes his individuality just as much as Mars does, just in different ways. Uranus wants individuality when it comes to certain people and how it finds its individual self. But you know what? When it comes to kind of that Mars energy, it wants it kind of just all on its own. Now, I think that it's super important for everybody to know that this is a major transit with Mars because in its detriment in Taurus, it takes time to process the best of the best. And when you get the square to Venus in Aquarius, we feel like we have everything that we could want in our lives, and at the same time, not at all. Venus in Aquarius really is all about understanding whether or not we are fixated on having all the pieces together. But Mars in Taurus is saying, hey, I don't know if I have that. I don't know if I actually have that fully. Are we connected? Do we share the same values? Am I feeling valuable from what this project's doing, this relationship's doing? And with this full moon Libra, it's covering and understanding the Venus energy. And Venus is in Aquarius. So it's like trying to put together this huge, I've been calling it the Price is Right wheel. I did a live on Instagram the other night, and people loved it because right now when it comes to relationships, it's like spinning the Price is Right wheel. And then right when it gets to where you think was this it? No, wait, and it just spins it again. And that's because there's been this mutable energy. But now that we're coming into cardinal energy, things are about to kind of go, woo! And it's the inertia, it's the initial. Mercury freaking retrograde, batteries dying on the microphone while I'm spinning freaking wheels up here. You know, it's been one of those times where, honestly, even before this, I'm going to be honest, we were supposed to go on an hour ago, and the computer CPU fans weren't working and overheating the CPU, and I was literally in the back of the shop where I work on my jet skis, pulling apart the whole entire computer that runs this whole entire software and all these cameras, and literally taking air and blowing it through there. This is a time where you got to look at your life. It is not going to be perfect, okay? Chiron is not about perfection. It's about humbling and kind of accepting of what we have and where we're at in life. And this is, I think, a very, very important notion that the balance of this full moon, that this Mars, which is squaring Venus, and Venus being highlighted in this turning wheel, and this trying to understand, put all these pieces together, especially whether you look at that financially, relationship-wise, it's very intense. It's teaching you to find some courage of your self-worth. It's trying to help you find that true understanding of what you really do value in yourself. But with Mars trine Pluto, there's this determination to do whatever it's going to take to get there. Pluto and the South Node, by the end of this week, are going to start their conjunction point. This is major because this is the first time we have ever felt the South Node and Pluto in Capricorn. So talk about doing whatever you can do to survive. Yeah. You will do anything that you can do to survive or push through or make a change in your life to change the way that your life is going. It is that intense right now out there. And when you look at Mars, Mars is going to be aspecting the nodes in positive aspect this week. So we're definitely turning some big corners karmically right now. And this is not any old just basic full moon. And whether you want to call it a supermoon because it's brighter and it's a little bit bigger, I mean, this is more about what's really going on in the astrology. Especially with Mercury retrograde on top of Neptune, we are about to sit in the most confusing, weird portal, unconscious uncovering that we've ever had in our lives. Because Neptune in its home sign of Pisces, with Mercury retrograde going to stop on top of this position, and Neptune, which is coming out of its shadow period from where it was last year, where it retrograded, and coming into new territory, and with Mercury going to be all over this space, you know what? We are in a soul deep trying to understand how all it is. We're talking about multidimensional layers in our consciousness. We're talking about past life energy. We're talking about ridiculous amounts of sorting through so much in our life. And this full moon is going to make it where it wants answers. Aries and Libra want answers. Aries wants an answer. Are we doing this? Are we going through? Are we going to war? Are we going to go to that project? Are we going to the store? Let's go. Let's jump in the car. And Libra is kind of like, are we in a partnership? Are we going to do this together? Am I going to help you? You're not going to help me? What's the terms? What's the terms? Is this fair? Is this fair? Is this fair? And it's like, wait, hold on a second. I am in a Mercury retrograde right now on top of Neptune trying to figure out everything, and the universe is throwing me positions in where Saturn and Pluto are coming closer and closer and closer. Pluto on the South Node is demanding, I need an answer about what this Capricorn energy is. What are the decisions in your life? Are you going to make this decision? And this is where we got to learn to chill out, because this is what the full moon in Libra is going to ask is, you know what? Maybe the initiative is to chill out and learn to weigh out a lot of things, especially with a Mercury retrograde on top of Neptune, especially with Mars trine Pluto. There's all this energy that's like all over the place, demanding, needing to step up because reality is real. South Node on Pluto and Saturn now that are conjuncting for the first time in Capricorn since the 15, 16, 17, this time area. Like, you got to realize that this is major. Like, this is a big, long deal here. And I think what I'm trying to say is reality is real. That you have things that you have to do. You have things that you have to step forward. And I understand survival. Pluto is about survival. Mars is the root chakra of that sexual root chakra energy of survival. And they're both in trine with the South Node. Survival is a core element of life right now, whether that's survival financially, survival through independence of, oh man, I can't do this alone. How am I going to do this? It goes in a lot of aspects. Or are you trying to hold on? Mars in Taurus wants to try and hold on as Mars leaves Aries, right, where it's empowered in its home sign and it gets the awards of, the masculine power of I've got the power, and then it comes into Taurus where it starts sorting through the town and starts building things and starts going through the flea markets and starts going, this is nice, let me put this in my bag, let me put this in my bag, until you have so much shit, you're like, I can't take all this with me, I got to keep going, I don't want to carry this on my back as I keep marching throughout the zodiac. So this whole survival element is going to come down to, what in your life is got to be let go. Like, we can't take everything with us. And when you get this turning wheel of all these energies with people and relationships and projects and all these things that Venus is going through with the square to Mars, you got to remember that this is a huge aspect in our life where it's kind of like we're trying to sort out so many layers that by sorting out so many layers, we are really actually like a computer storing lots of files. But the hard drive can only hold so much. So this is a week to where it's like, if you're not really feeling it fully, let it go. Because all we want to sort through for this next couple weeks of Mercury on top of Neptune, as it will come out of its retrograde and come stationary direct next week, is only deal with the sorting out of the most important things. And especially as the Sun on Chiron is going to teach us to humble ourselves and go, we know who we are, we know what we want. Why are we going to even deal with or even look at or even give our energy away to energies that are not in alignment with who we are fully? Because we already are wounded enough about energies that have gone and happened to us over the last freaking decade pretty much, about what has been lost, what didn't work out. That's what Pisces was about. Just even getting here tonight and filming this on the last degree of Pisces, we are all beaten down, tired. We have gone through so much. This Saturn-Pluto energy has been forcing us in Capricorn. We're now at the South Node to continue to, whether we feel like we're like a slave to the world and to reality and to having to survive. But this is where we have to learn to chill out and only take on and evaluate what is important instead of taking on this, taking on that, taking on that, taking on that, looking in this direction, looking in that direction, pondering this still, pondering the past, pondering the past. What part of the past do we still have that we need to fully remove? What parts that are new that have come in that really are not in alignment with who we are and really even make sense logically? This full moon in Libra is a logical full moon. It's a logical one because it is going to say, I don't know if, that doesn't make sense on the scale. Get that one off. Get that one off. This is not going to bring you harmony and peace, is it? Really? You really think this is? And I think that when it comes to the survival, it's like we're almost taking whatever we can into our lives, because we're hoping that maybe, especially with Mars now that's been through Taurus and Uranus that's been in Taurus, we think we're geniuses. Like, it's almost like we're becoming like little gypsies who have like their little trunks in the back with them. Like, oh, like take that, and we'll sell that later. Or take that, or take that. Maybe it'll come in handy fucking 50 years from now. I don't know. You got to realize that this is not a great time to be a gypsy because there is a reality. when there's a reality, when Pluto and Saturn are demanding, we got to still make it through this reality. So just know that once we get through this full moon, Mars and Venus square, then Mars trine Pluto, then it's going to be Mars in the nodes. And I think that this is going to be a turning point after this full moon by the end of this weekend, you know, where we really are starting to go, okay, I've processed a lot of that. The moon's going to come into Scorpio. And I think this moon in Scorpio is going to help us emotionally realize, I don't know if I really like that. We should chuck that, because the moon in Scorpio will make an opposition to Uranus for the first time since it's entered in here since 2018, especially I think the last time the moon was in Scorpio with Uranus in Taurus would have been in October, or it could have been that first week of November, but it would have been October, November of 2018. So I just want to let you all know that we are coming into a week where if stuff is not working out, it's not making sense, it's not, this Mercury retrograde is showing you what is not truly aligned, what is not truly aligned with your soul, what is not truly aligned with spirit, what is not truly aligned with the new you. And we are going to go through Chiron energy this week with this full moon, and especially weird relationship stuff, where I'm going to be honest with you, there are some relationships in life, unfortunately, especially with all this Neptune energy that looks like it could go one way, aren't going to work out. They're just not. And it's about learning to surrender and learning to let go of that. And I feel like an asshole because whether it's on my DMs on Instagram or on my Facebook, I'm getting so many people, but this relationship, and then this is happening to me. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, I'm an astrologer, Sun and Chiron oppose the full moon with a quincunx or an inconjunct over to Uranus and Taurus about if it's really going to take you to the best heaven on earth. Taurus is the ruler of heaven. I don't know if you all know that. It is the fixed earth. It is the Garden of Eden. It is the moment where we spring up. And with the sun coming to its exaltation point, we all are going to have to realize that we are exalted beings when we have the power in ourselves, not when we're giving away our power, where the sun is at fall position in Libra, where we lose ourselves in a relationship and we think that the relationship is going to give us some sort of power. I think it gives us temporary power, encouragement, but to be honest with you, it really is not about that temporary thing we're looking for. We're looking for that empowerment in ourselves. And we're looking for empowerment this week that's going to allow us to realize that we only take on what's necessary and we are honest with ourselves. 100% honest and not delusional, with Mercury retrograde on top of Neptune. And this Mercury's going to be on top of Neptune for weeks, 2 weeks. Don't play around with delusional things of, oh, well, we could rearrange this and maybe this will happen and da-da-da-da-da-da. Start the clearing process. Let's look at the charts real quick. I do want to bring up real quick, highvibetvschool.com. It is live now. So we've got the school live. We're dripping awesome videos every week. We got Jack's Tarot on there. We got Sarah doing shadow work. I'm doing my e-commerce spiritual business school. Already dripped 2 classes on there. I'm dripping another one tomorrow. We've got so many things on there. We got Dylan going to be talking about different crystal aspects, Kundalini yoga. There is so much on there. Check it out now, High Vibe TV School. And if you're on it, guess what? If you get the all-in-one, you get my whole Leo King Elite Astrology School, tiers 1, 2, and 3, all 45 videos. All, if you want to learn astrology, boom, it's all right there. I'm giving that pretty much away for almost free if you actually do the math. So check it out, highvibetvschool.com. It's a new website. We just put it out last night. So I went faster on the channeling because I wanted to give you guys some energy on the charts because I got to go. I got a lot going on right now, and time is a-wasting. So here's the chart for right now. Well, before we had computer issues, we're at the end of Pisces. Oh, man, the 29th degree, where, you know, you just have to learn to surrender and go with the flow. And, man, we are tired, and we are really in a place where I guess you could say confused of where things are going next, and a little bit addicted to finding whatever can heal us quick. Well, look at that Sun Chiron. This next, this whole full moon is going to be covering this Sun Chiron. And look at Mercury. So Mercury, as it's retrograding, is making a nice sextile over to Saturn, which is now at 19 degrees. And Saturn is 1 degree away from its retrograde stationary spot. But if you notice, Mercury, Saturn, this is us definitely starting to realize the reality stuff and what needs to be let go of and what is in alignment and what is not, and only focusing on what makes sense. Mercury is getting some help from Saturn. Only focus on what's making sense, literally, right now, and what makes sense to actually get you where you want to go. And because we are entering into a very unique phase with Mars here, which is trine Pluto, 22 and 22, you know, this whole like, you know, getting whatever you want is one thing, but is it of quality and is it on the path? So this is a very important time if you stick to what's quality and what's on the path, because with Mars, which is squaring Venus, Venus in Aquarius is like, well, I can make that work. I can make this work, and I can make that 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 work. I'm a genius, right? But look at Uranus in Taurus at its fall position. It's not at its best position. So to be honest with you, we cannot have too much on us, because if we do, it's not going to be able to truly get us to the greater places in life. Uranus is a great teacher because Uranus teaches us of where we have to disconnect. And I know that this is a very hard time because disconnection is kind of more of a theme than connection, especially with the sun finishing in Pisces, a full moon on Chiron, and then on top of it, a Mercury retrograde on top of Neptune, which is, you know, the ultimate release. We're going to go into that chart and show you how that is. But I just kind of wanted to give you the overall. Last thing is this moon all alone here on, you know, the other side of the zodiac in Virgo, trying to sort things out, trying to get our life together, trying to figure out a routine, a rhythm, how we can make changes in our life, how we can actually, you know, figure life out to work for us. But it's in opposition to this Mercury retrograde and Neptune. So there's quite a lot of a confusion here because, you know, the moon and Mercury are definitely in a really weird spot, you know. So let's get into Wednesday. It's the big day. It is the astrological pagan New Year. Happy New Year, everybody, especially for those that have been on the astrology trail for a long time. I just want to say Happy New Year to you all. So the sun, 0 degrees at Aries. It's exaltation. Woo! This is literally huge because the sun finally triumphs, gets out of, you got to remember, there is no fire through the last quadrant of the zodiac. It's Pisces water, Aquarius air, and Capricorn earth. But there's fire in every other quadrant. We always start the spring, we got the summer in the middle, and then we end the fall with fire. But look at that. All of winter has no fire. Why do you think it's called winter? There's no fire. So we haven't had any fire all winter. We went through 3 signs with the sun without it. So the sun becomes exalted because it finally gets its power back. Now, on this new year, it's kind of interesting to see. We do have this Mars-Venus square. And so it's definitely going to be bringing up only doing projects, relationships, situations that we really want to put ourselves into and create and manifest good feeling energies that make sense, that actually are worthy of our time and our energy. I know it sounds very pompous and very Taurus, but we are learning Taurus again because for some reason on the earth, and everybody thinks actually that we're very materialistic. I think it's kind of quite the opposite. I think the spirituality has kind of gotten way deep into transformational experience and all this, but we're in a world that needs change. We're in a physical world that needs change. And we also in our own lives are in a world where we have gone through so much ascension stuff, gone through so much in our own spiritual world that we're at a point to where we all need to make changes and only make changes about things that are worthy of our time and energy, especially with all this Capricorn stuff. But with Mercury retrograde on this new year at 18 degrees, you know, it is literally 2 degrees away from Neptune. So there's a lot of confusion. So I guess you could say that this astrological new year is going to be sorting out what relationships make sense in our world and new style of relationships that bring us new understandings and qualities, but also not allowing relationships to define who we are. I think that that's a big part of this, just because of the fact that because Mars is at its detriment in Taurus, that it needs to find its own value. It needs to find its own self-worth. It needs to find, you know, the power within itself. And with the square to Venus in Aquarius, it goes, oh, I can't do it unless I have this, or I have this weird equation, or I have this weird scenario that'll help me and come in, or I need help. I need help. I need help. I need help. That's what everybody feels. I need help. Can somebody come here and fix this for me? Can somebody come here and do this? You know, when the fucking computer just broke, I literally was like, fuck this. I'm running back to the jet ski area. I'm getting the tools out. I'm pulling this whole thing apart. I don't care about warranties. I'm going in there and I'm blowing it out, and I'm going to look and see if there's an issue there. And I'm going to reset the BIOS myself, and I'm going to do it. And bam, you have the genius within yourself. You have the power within yourself. And especially with this sun in Aries and with Chiron in Aries, it's going to teach you that the healing power right now is through the power of having the power to be okay and happy and satisfied with what you can do independently and what you have the power within yourself. It's nice to have help. It's nice to have relationships. It's nice to have all these things, and they're very important to this whole collective cycle. Do not get me wrong. But this is where the problem is that we are extending our energy outside of ourselves too much. And this energy is telling us to bring it back in. Bring it back into ourselves so we can get powered again, so we can go forward. Because we can't go forward right now with all this energy that's been through Pisces about all this past stuff, all these past stories that haven't cleared. And now that the sun's out of Pisces, all that's left is this Mercury-Neptune thing. And so this is about our ideas. This is about our head games. This is about our own state of mind, losing the delusions or the fantasies of what could be, or what could be resurged, or what could come back. It's almost like sitting at a grave and just like hoping for grandpa to come out of the grave again. I already know both my grandpas aren't coming back. Now they come back to me through mediums, but they're not going to come out of the grave and hang out with me. You know what I mean? And you know, I miss both my grandpas. One of them was an astrologer, and the other one was the one who taught me computers. I know that's a little harsh. Somebody triggers some people. Damn. Let's go to this full moon chart. Hours after the sun comes into its new year. So here's the full moon chart on March 20th, 6:42 p.m. By the way, we will be doing spiritual dance music tomorrow night, so you are going to want to join us live, especially since YouTube's been lame lately and has been cutting me off some of the tracks lately. So don't miss it live. And I heard all your comments. Some people said the music was too loud when I was talking. I got it. But this full moon, Libra, there it is. Oh, out of nowhere. And look at these aspects. Oh my gosh. Full moon opposed Chiron. The sun exactly at 0. We are on the border. And I don't know if you all know, but we're going to have 2 full moons in Libra. That's right. You heard me right. So you want to talk about the next month about relationships being crazy and intense? Welcome. So full moon on top of Chiron is kind of going to teach us that we are going to have to heal ourselves and realize that we can move forward in our life. The healing is to move forward. And I think Chiron is at its longest stay in Aries. And one of the reasons why it's one of its longest stays is because the whole story of Chiron was getting shot. And especially, there's a whole longer part of the whole story and how he was shot, especially by his own family and team, and had to keep going on in battle. But you know what? It's like no matter what crap has happened to us, no matter what crappy situations are around us, we need to realize that we can rise to the occasion and rise out of it. But this full moon in Libra is going to continue to keep going. Gosh, all I want to feel is peace. All I want to feel is that connection with what is outside of myself, through someone else, through something else. And it's important to have that, and I think that the universe is going to bring us a little bit of help, but it's not enough help to where it's going to fix every problem in your life. You're still going to have to fix that yourself. So even if it's about a relationship, or it's about, you needing help in some other sort of way, financially, with some sort of advice or some sort of healing, you still got to do a lot of the work yourself. If you think that if you're putting all your gamble right now on a relationship fixing your life or some outside part of yourself fixing the whole thing, you are still going to have to show up 100%. That's also why, if you look at this full moon, it is making very, 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 very weird aspects, okay? One is to Uranus, okay? So when you get this Uranus energy in Taurus, this is teaching us that, well, maybe, we need to understand our values better and find, new ways to raise up the values. And I think when it comes to relationships as well, are we all on the same value team? Especially as Mars is squaring Venus exactly as the full moon happens at 23 and 23. That's the best number in the zodiac, by the way, not just because it's my birthday, but it does equal to 5, which is in the middle. And we are in the middle of making sure, are we going to go backwards? Or are we going to go forwards? Are we going to look over there? Are we going to look this way? It's like the devil and the angel on both our shoulders right now. And you know where the angel is. That angel is in that positive, new direction of new things, finding your empowerment and not letting anything, whether it's outside of yourself, especially relationship-wise, or whether that's the relationship with money or the relationship with anything, that you cannot let that determine you. And you cannot let that take you down. If you let that take you down, there's your number one issue. And that's what we're all facing right now with the subconscious stuff. You know, this full moon has a lot of weird angles. We still got this Uranus-Neptune semi-square. We still got Jupiter and Mercury retrograde squaring. And we've got Mars in the nodes making aspects. So this is a pretty big karmic lesson of identity. Remember that the Sun is in Aries, Mars is in Taurus. So we need to look at Mars, and Mars is making a square to Venus. This is about the battle between you and projects, money, and relationships. This is what we're all at and how to balance that out. And we want help, but we want to experience the bliss of thinking that help will just show up. It'll show up in minor ways, but not be the end-all, be-all situation. So as we move on to Thursday after this full moon, which is going to last a while, because you got to remember this is a big full moon, and it's going to last a while because it's at the first degree of Libra. On Thursday, Mars and Venus are still in their square, and we still have the moon in Libra, but now this moon in Libra is getting ready for its squares to all this over the next couple days. But the moon in Libra will then trine over to Venus. So we are going to be kind of in a weird kind of vibe, I think, Thursday, processing a lot. And this is where we have to start dumping what doesn't make sense. Mars square Venus is going to say, I'm not fully feeling the value of this. It's okay for me to move on. Venus in Aquarius is like, yeah, you know what? I don't see the value in that either. I'm going to go peace out. But if you do see the value in it and you do see great in it, then that's where you put your energy in, because there's a lot of creative juices right now and you don't want to waste it. Think of like right now, life is kind of like a palette of paint and you only have so much. It's like, and you only have a couple rooms you can paint. Are you going to paint the whole house right now? Or are you going to pick what rooms are the most important to paint? Like, don't get caught up in this thinking that you can, I'll stretch it out and paint it on everything right now. It's like, oh, you need 2 layers. You need 3 layers of coating that, you know? So Wednesday's Wednesday. Sun will be approaching Chiron, but that's not until the next day. So really Friday is going to be the big dog day. Big dog. Big dog. Because when we get to Friday, boom, the Sun will conjunct Chiron. So this will be when the moon is squaring over to the nodes, all right? And the moon will square Saturn and Pluto, which will have happened, you know, basically late Thursday night, early in the morning, but the moon will trine Venus. And Venus will come off the square Mars. This is going to be a big healing moment in our lives. We're going to come into this weekend either A, totally empowered, understanding we got some help, but understanding we've got some shit that we got to move through, and we've got the power in ourselves, and we're not delusional. The reason why I say that is Mercury and Neptune are starting their conjunction point, as Mercury is stopping and getting ready to go stationary this next week, but Neptune is moving forward. Neptune is past exactly where it was in its retrograde cycle of last year. So Neptune has come out of its old shadow period and entered into a new zone where we have never been since the 1850s. So I think it's very important for us to realize that, you know, these are new kind of delusions or higher delusions, or this is also us being more awake. You could see it in people, you could see it in yourself. You are battling a turnstile of awake or unconscious, awake or unconscious. And you got to catch yourself. This moon in Libra and this Venus in Aquarius is the logical energies that are going to tell us the understanding of the story, the true balance and the true harmony that will come by weighing things out in a much better way of value and understanding, as this moon is going to be coming towards Scorpio in opposition to Uranus, and say, you know what needs to be emotionally dumped? South node Pluto. Look at Pluto, 22, it's coming towards this 24 degree. We are coming into a South Node Pluto conjunction. Also in Vedic astrology, the nodes are getting ready to change over, sorry, they're this way. The nodes are getting ready to switch into Gemini and to Sag, pretty much at the galactic center point. So, you know, if we actually add some sidereal to this all, this is pretty intense because this is a major moment in our lives. And if you think about this as well, Jupiter is getting ready to move into Sagittarius fully. as well in sidereal. And I think it pretty much has. 2347, that'd be 0 degrees Sag in Vedic. So this is about a huge new paradigm. But there's a lot of layers, and you don't want to be, and I don't want to sound like I'm an asshole, but you don't want to be an idiot. You do not want to be an idiot through this one. Because if there is any rite of passage through this portal that I've been talking about, which you can go buy the video, by the way, it's at theleoking.com, talking about this portal. And I have the Peace Dealer talking about it too. You need to realize that this portal here is teaching you that you can have that beautiful world you want. But if you're stuck in delusional thoughts of the past, or you're creating stories and you're giving away your own power as other energies outside of yourself, that is what's creating and manifesting your own independent self and power, this could bite you hard. So be smart and realize that you have all the people out there in the world that could be there for you with support, and logically think through things and what makes sense. And don't create a delusional story, but understand the unconscious stories, and you will thrive. We move into this weekend. The sun comes off of Chiron. The moon's in Scorpio. And I think that, you know what, Saturday's one of the better days, I will be honest. I mean, we are having this Mars and Venus energy, which is still, of course, kind of in square, but look at Venus is catching much faster, and the moon in Scorpio's in its, of course, fall position, but it is a sun in exaltation. So I think it's important for us to focus on what we want and what we don't want. This is where the moon has to learn to let go instead of connect. But it also can connect if it has truly let go of everything in a weird way, because look at Mercury as it's getting closer to Neptune. And this Uranus aspect taught a lot about self-worth and value to the moon, even though the moon is in fall position and Uranus is in fall position. So this is a hard lesson of Taurus, Scorpio values. And so in your own life, there's going to be a lot of questions right now about what you should have, what you should let go of, what you should end, what you should purge, what you should not keep. Because this is a time where it's Aries, where it's coming through Chiron, and it's a new year in the new cycle. And remember that all the planets are direct except for Mercury retrograde. That's it. And Mercury retrograde's on top of Neptune, which is very strong right now. Neptune's over halfway through the sign of Pisces. And actually these degrees right here in this little zone, this 16 degree to 18 degree zone of Pisces, is a Mercury-ruled energy. And this is about thinking straight and subconscious thoughts and ideas that can become non-reality in a good way, but also ones that can become not reality in a bad way if you're not logically seeing through the fog or seeing through the great Oz experience that you're projecting and creating yourself. But this is all going to be connected to your values and what you emotionally hang on to and what you feel that you need to survive, because as we get closer and closer and closer to the end of this week, this Pluto and South Node are getting very, very close and exact. And I think that it's important for us to know the survival energy. Some people are going to do whatever they can to try and survive, and that's going to be part of all of our stories, but I think that it's going to be interesting. And I did forget to bring up that Venus is sextiling Jupiter this week. There's so much in the astrology, but you know, it is about thinking about the big picture here and not about the fast, quick fix. You know what I mean? Like you just can't have the fix, just like, oh yeah, this will fix it quick, or let me just have this and it'll fix everything. I'm just going to have this and it'll fix everything now. Sunday, Mercury and Neptune come into exact conjunction point. Now, remember, Mercury and Neptune are not done with exact conjunction, okay? They are going to be conjuncting here in a retrograde, which makes this even more intense. But I'm just going to tell you that this is not over. And Neptune is a very slow planet, and Mercury is the fastest planet. And even though Mercury's still in retrograde till next week, this weekend, this is where the delusional stories have to truly be sought through. This is where we need to communicate from the soul and get through the clutter and be honest and have our deep connections with God and really start to do it, because look at 23 degrees now, the South Node. And when you get this 23 degrees energy going on, especially because this is where the angles are. Jupiter now is going to be making angles to the nodes, and Mars has come through that. But the big news is in the understanding of the sidereal zodiac, I mean, this is switching into signs, okay? And this is a very big deal where we need to really think straight as we can, because with the moon, it's going to square over to Venus. And so this is a hard one, okay? Because moon in Scorpio at fall position, Venus in Aquarius, you know what? I know we want to feel a certain way. We want to have certain things. We want to connect. But if it doesn't make sense in where we're going, if it doesn't make sense in the world, if it doesn't logically connect, this is where we can't create a delusion and keep doubling down. Only after weighing a lot out. And it's going to be hard, because even though I know that this is like a, oh, don't do anything during Mercury retrogrades ever, this Saturn Pluto South Node thing is kind of making it to where it's like, sorry, reality. I think it's about being comfortable with choices that you make and making your life comfortable to get through this moment in a healthy way, finding support, but also realizing that support can only do so much, that you still got to do things on your own, and you got to make choices. And you just can't sit and not make choices and just wait for something to fully end. But at the same token, there is that energy of the you do want to process things fully before just jumping onto a conclusion of something and jumping right into it. Because with the sun in Aries, it wants to jump. With the moon at fall, with Uranus at fall, and more importantly, with Venus in Aquarius in a tight orb with this moon square, you know, we don't want to just, with Mercury conjuncting Neptune in retrograde, while Mercury's in its fall position, we got a lot of energies in fall. So, you know, this is a time where, you know, Saturn and Jupiter are the rulers right now, and the sun, okay? And they're very, 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 you know, let's just do what's the best for ourselves and the best for the long term. And the best that's going to open up more doors in our life instead of closed doors. If you're entering into a situation where you've already been through the same racket and the same mess and the same crazy spinning wheel all the time, don't do it. Let go. Monday, and Sunday. No, so Monday, Monday we got the moon in Sag. And this is going to trine over to this fire. We're going to get some new fire kicking in next week. And I think that with Mercury passing Neptune, yes, it's going to sit at 16. Neptune's going to go to 17, don't worry. But it is definitely still a time where even though the light comes on and this Jupiter moon energy is going to help us out, this is going to be a time for us to really still remember that with Venus finishing here at the end of Aquarius on Monday, as it's getting ready to jump into Pisces, that we need to make sure that we have all the logical facts and understanding of what we can do to manifest, what's going on with relationship stuff, and that we have time. I think that there's this energy with Mercury on Neptune that we feel like we don't have time. We feel like it needs to be now. We feel like that we need to be saved now. We feel like that there's not enough time. And if you actually realize, and I've been realizing this a lot lately, that the truth is that I think we've all been lost in time. I think I've told people, I've been like, oh yeah, let's meet up tomorrow. It's the weekend. It's like, wait, it's not the weekend. And like, it's freaking Tuesday. It's Monday. I don't know. We're all lost in time. We're all lost in time frames. We're all lost in dimensional time right now. You have more time than you realize. And there are more open doors than you realize. But if you trap yourself, there are traps all over this astrology and this full moon. If you trap yourself in energy that's going to hold you and give away your power to something fully, you know, it's going to be a hard thing that's going to sit on top of you for a while. And this is where clear communication is very, very hard. Because, you know, we can let our sensitivities, we could let our past issues, we could let our past experiences, we can let our deeper compassionate energies in more of the negative way take us over. And I think that this is important for us to remember that the universe is asking for us to start this new year with empowerment and having beautiful connections, but remembering that we can only heal that through ourselves, that nobody can be a nurse for us. I think this North Node in Cancer wants that. And it's important to have a support system. But there is this reality check of Saturn and Pluto, which is very strong with the South Node. And we end, and I have to show this chart. I forgot to show this on Monday. We are literally going to start the week off and finally actually have, by the end of the week, both Pluto and the South Node at 23 degrees. We are about to enter for months the South Node on the Pluto-Saturn energy. So you know what you're feeling deeply is you're feeling the weight of the world and the changes that are going to be happening and the alliances of your life changing. The world stage is about to change with Uranus and Taurus, and especially with Uranus about to leave the 0 degree and go into 1 degree. We're about to see the world change crazy and your own world change crazy, and you're about to feel the weight of the world heavy. So of course it's easy to say, you know what, I want to go through it with someone, or I want to go through it with this on my back, but I'm just trying to tell you to not get into some sort of trap. Because if you get into some sort of weird trap, you'll lose that empowerment. You'll lose that ability to feel like when we actually get through this fog, because you got to remember, this is just a very temporary portal that's opening a big portal. This is the lobby. You don't want to pick the wrong energy in the lobby before you go into the party. And so it's very important right now to realize you have more time than you realize and see what you could do on your own and fix things on your own and do things on your own, instead of like reaching out for this necessity to feel like it's all over unless I have this. And it's not all over. Pluto and Saturn try to teach empowerment in a tough way. And they teach empowerment through finding deep, deep survival skills and finding skills to build a plan and execute them and be an adult. And we are all children right now. And it's okay, because I'm a child too. We are all children because this energy has put us on our hands and knees because it has been very intense spiritually. But we can honestly realize that the world is not as scary as we think it is. It is a world that is ready and ripe for us to be empowered. It is a world that is ready for us to take on new adventures, new expeditions, new beautiful places. Jupiter's in its home sign of Sagittarius. Saturn's in Capricorn. This is a great time in our lives where we can actually create a beautiful world, but that only comes if you are a master. And if you step into your master power of your adult, higher-minded, higher vibrational self. Instead of giving things away, giving your energy away to lower energy, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, that energy is a low vibration or da-da-da-da, but energy that's from a much more basic fundamental level that is not going to get you to this more mastery of your life. That you have more mastery than you realize this week. And that's what this Libra full moon is about, and this sun exaltation, equinox, full moon, New Year is about, is realizing that a beautiful world does exist, but with Chiron and Aries, that you have to work through your own shit and that nobody else can work it for you, that you have to do it through yourself. You have to deal with the pain, you have to deal with whatever weird situation you're going through, and you can fix it yourself, and you can move on, and it will eventually go away because you'll be so used to it, it's just like you just go through it. We have a lot of great energy coming, but the main thing, and I'm just going to say it here now, more weird travel stuff. So pay attention to that with this Mercury stopping on Neptune, especially more next week, but we are going to get it coming into this weekend. 2, the world stuff is going to get gnarly. When it comes to alliances of the world, treaties, changing of power. This is the sun's exaltation. This is Chiron here. This is like Saturn, Pluto, South Node coming on top of Pluto. This is the nodes changing in the actual sidereal zodiac. This is Jupiter that's entering into, its home position in both tropical and in sidereal. So just remember too that Uranus is about to turn on fully as it comes to 1 degree next week. And this week, as it's in between worlds, you do not want to take on baggage like a little gypsy and start taking on all these things and thinking that you can have everything or that this will fix that, maybe down the road or whatever. You need to clean your energy out and focus on what's important, focus on your mastery, and focus on the plan to execute you, to get you through the stuff you've gone through, and only focus on the relationships that are fair, balanced, and like two people that are standing in power of each other and are not going to collapse on each other, or one that's holding another one up, or anything like that. Because when you're in those situations, you fall. And this is where we are not here to fall. We are here to make it through. And survival is not as scary as you think it is, because the key to this survival is knowing and understanding that you have that power inside of yourself to make change and to not be afraid of the reality of life, that all glimmer eventually loses its shine. All cycles come to an end. All trees die eventually. All humans die eventually. The whole earth eventually finds its way to die, and that everything does become reborn. Make sure you check out that High Vibe TV school.com for the Lightworker School. We're teaching a lot on there. I got another awesome class coming up tomorrow about business and spirituality, and of course all my astrology schools that are on there too, all my classes. And of course we got a lot of other shadow work on there. We got the tarot, and also if you want to find out about the rest of this month, my March horoscope is on sale. But anyway, I'm sending you all my best. I hope that you have made it through this crazy Pisces season. And I will see you all in Aries tomorrow night for spiritual dance music for the Pagan New Year full moon. Don't miss it. We will be live on YouTube, going live. Do not miss it. Set your alarms tomorrow. You want to dance yourself. You want to do the prayers with us. I'm going to be bringing candles up. I think we're going to have some special guests here too. We're going to have a party. Join it. It's free. And we'll have a blast. Much love to you all, and I'll see you tomorrow.